What is going on, y'all? It's your boy RickyMoto. Welcome back to yet another video. We have the R3 over here. I have literally 1 dot of gas. Haven't started up the bike in about 2 weeks, so let's see if she even runs. Aha. Today I'm going to be doing a video on rev matching. Literally every single person has been asking me how to rev match on a motorcycle. So in this video today, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can rev match and get on with your day on downshifting on your motorcycle. Alright, here we go. Woohoo! Oh boy. Earlier this morning, I actually met up with a subscriber. I actually sold him some motorcycle parts from the R3 because, as you guys know, I got new fairings for this bike, all this carbon fiber stuff. So I was selling my old fairings and I was actually listing them on eBay, which is where he found them. He didn't know it had any correlation to do with me. He actually messaged me on my eBay account and he's like, hey, I noticed you're in the area, because he does live close to where I am. And he's like, yo, can we do like a local meetup? And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. And then I'm like, oh, DM me on Instagram, because when you message back and forth on eBay, a lot of times they like kind of flag your account, mainly because they don't like when you do deals offline or do cash deals, because eBay's not getting a cut of that money, so they will block you. And then he's like, hold up, RickyMoto. Yo, what a small world, man. But yeah, he came by earlier this morning. He picked up a couple of fairing pieces, and I gave him a little bit of a discount as well. Oh, that was a red light for a sec. I do have a couple more pieces for sale, so if anyone has an R3 and needs to buy some parts, feel free to hit me up. I'm also selling some car parts as well, like exhaust systems and whatever, so if you need some of that, let me know. Gas prices have been literally insane, especially driving a BMW and using premium fuel. I'm paying like $60 a tank, which is pretty insane. Being on the bike reminds me of how cheap it is. Plus this thing takes regular, so I save some money doing that. I used to put premium in my bike all the time because I'm like, oh, I like the way it runs, but I'm gonna be putting regular because, you know, we gotta save money now. Damn, that smells good. Oh, those downshifts, baby. So like I said, I'm gonna be doing a downshifting and rev matching video today because a lot of people don't know how to do it. Basically what rev matching even is when you downshift, you're trying to match the RPMs to the gear that's under it. That way your downshifts will be smooth, it won't be jerky, and it's also better for the engine. If you're not rev matching when you downshift, you could cause potential damage to your system and your transmission, because basically your gears will be grinding against each other. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have taken the MSF course, but the MSF actually does not teach you how to downshift at all. I mean, also at the MSF course, the highest gear that we got up to was second gear, so there's really no need to downshift from second to first, because you just hold the clutch in and just go down to first and you come to a full stop. Personally, the way I've learned how to downshift was from YouTube videos. Before I started riding, I was already watching a lot of videos on how to ride and how to downshift, and I was just practicing the motion of downshifting before I even started riding. So when I did start to ride, it was actually at the MSF course where I tried out my first ever downshift. They didn't tell us to do it, I just did it while we were cruising around in that parking lot. I just was like, huh, what if I just did a downshift right now and rev matched? So I did it as we were riding, and it just worked for the first time ever. And I had like the craziest sensation. I'm like, no freaking way, I just did it. And then ever since then, you know, I just refined my skill and continued to practice, and I learned how to downshift. All right, let's do a pull over here. Ha-ha! I'm actually going to this abandoned empty parking lot that I go to all the time. I think it's the perfect wide open space for me to explain the concept to you guys and do a couple downshifts and teach you guys what to do. Have you ever driven a manual transmission car? The concept is also pretty much the same, where you do a little bit of a clutch and throttle or gas pedal action. If you just do a downshift and just let go of the clutch without adding a blip of the throttle, your rear tire is gonna basically lose traction because it's gonna be trying to match the RPM automatically. And so what's gonna happen is you're gonna skid. Okay, we're just gonna slide through this little gate over here. Oh my gosh, there's another one. Oh geez. And there's a worker. Let's see. We'll go on top of here. He's looking at me. There's a guy in a car right now. So here we are, rev matching tutorial. Basically everything I'm going to show you right now has to be done actually in the same exact time, but I'll split it up right now just so I can explain it to you guys. So the first step is, as you're riding, you're still holding on the throttle, right? First things first, you want to let go of that throttle. You want to cut your fuel. And the thing you want to do is hold the clutch in. That cuts power from the engine to your rear wheel, so you're not accelerating. And then you want to shift your pedal on the left side, because the shifter is on the left foot, and you want to push that pedal down one until it clicks in place. After it clicks in place, you want to use your throttle and do a blip like that. And the amount of throttle also varies per bike and your speed. I'd say the sweet spot is about the 50% mark. So let's say 100% throttle is like this, right? Now 50% would be like that, about halfway. And also you can practice all this on your bike when the bike is off, or if you don't even have a bike yet, you can just practice the motion while you're at home, because that's what I did when I first started practicing how to rev match. You want to do it faster, so you just want to go like that, on off really quickly. You're still holding the clutch at this point, so at that 50% mark. Then you want to let go of the throttle to 0 and let go of the clutch. And what that's going to do is the RPM is going to be slowly coming down, and it's going to jump up and then continue going down. If your RPM is coming down and then it suddenly drops and picks back up, that means you did not add enough throttle. When it drops and shoots back up rapidly, that's basically the engine or the transmission doing it for you, but that's what's causing your rear tire to skid, because it's such an aggressive come up of the RPM. Now if you do too much throttle, let's say you go like a full-blown throttle as you do your rev match, or if you held it for too long, because you have to do it quickly, if you do it too slowly, that's also going to cause you to over rev your bike. Not as bad as if you did too little, because if you do too little, what's going to happen is you either get that skid or your bike will jolt forward when you let go of that clutch. But if you do too much throttle, there's not going to be much of a jolt on your bike, but what's going to happen is you're going to hear a huge whining noise on your bike, and you're not going to get any sort of engine braking because the RPM is basically at redline. You could do that on purpose, and I'll get to that later as to why you would want to do a hard rev match. But as for right now, I'm talking about rev matching to slow down. Basically, another recap: clutch in, shift down, blip throttle halfway-ish, let go of the throttle, let go of the clutch. That is the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to rev matching. But you have to do all of these 4 steps at the same exact time, which is why I guess people are confused about it. You can break it up into sections, all right? So let's just focus on the handlebars and not focus on your leg right now. This is coming in, this is also coming in. You want to do it at the same exact time, and then once you hit that 50% mark on the right side, you're basically at the 100% mark on the left side. So as you can see, like this on both sides, boom. So both hands are basically following the same motion. Both sides are closing in and opening out in the same exact time. Now you can also practice this, like I said, with your bike off, or if you're just sitting at home and trying it in front of your computer screen, and you want to do it fast. So we could start off slow like this, boom, 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 boom. And then once you get that down, you want to do it like this, like a split second, bum, 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 1, 2. Oh my gosh, all these sound effects that I'm making. As you do this motion, it kind of simplifies it, right? See, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Very simple, right? Now, once you get that motion down with your hands, you want to add in the actual downshift with your left foot on the shifting pedal. So as you can see, remember, you hit down, right? So as you do the boom, the first one, that's when you hit the pedal down. You want to hit the pedal down at the same time you pull it in. Boom. And then once you let your foot off the pedal is the same time you let off of the top 2. So yeah, that's pretty much the process of how to rev match. Now the quicker you do it, the smoother it's gonna be, because if you do it slowly like this, like it's gonna cause your bike to over rev or not shift smoothly. You want to see your revs go down like this, so it's coming down, shoots up, coming down, shoots up. So yeah, that's basically the gist of how to downshift, and now you gotta practice it and feel it for yourself to really know how it works. Me explaining it is only one part of it. You have to actually ride and feel it for yourself. Now every bike kind of differs in terms of how it feels, or like how much throttle to give. For my bike, I figured around the 50% mark or like a 30% mark would be perfect, depending on the speed. Basically, if you're rev matching from a high RPM coming down from a high speed, you would want to give a bit more throttle. Whereas if you're cruising and you're coming down, the gears are going very slowly, I would only blip it around the 30% mark. I wouldn't blip it at the 50% mark. And that concept basically applies for most bikes. Now, each bike might handle differently. For example, this 300 versus my last bike, which was a Z125 Pro. The Z125 Pro, because of how weak of a bike that was, I actually needed to give it a lot more throttle in order to rev match smoothly. So like, for example, my go-to point is the 50% mark on this bike, but on a Z125 Pro, to get that same sort of response for a rev match, I would have to give it like 75% throttle to get that same sort of effect. So it really depends on your bike, and the only way to really fine-tune and feel out exactly where or how much to downshift or how much revs to give during your downshift, that all depends on your bike, and you just have to ride to feel it out. So yeah, that's basically a rev matching tutorial. Now I'll get into a little bit of an extra segment right now, is to do a hard rev match. Now this is typically if you want to, like the memes say online, drop a gear and go flying away. So basically, let's say I'm in 6th gear, I'm cruising on a highway at like 60 miles an hour. 6th gear on this bike, I'm typically in the mid revs around the 8,000 mark. So let's say I'm 6th gear, 8,000 RPM, and I want to do a quick pull while I'm going at 60 miles an hour. And I have to downshift to 5th gear, so I'll do a rev match, do this motion, the 3 things in the same time, boom, boom. I'm down to 5th gear, my RPM shoot up to the power band, which is at 10,000 RPM. And when I do that, I do a hard downshift. Instead of a halfway point, I'll do like maybe like a full blown, like a 80%, boom, boom. And what that's gonna do is gonna shoot my RPMs a lot higher, which means no engine braking at that point, but you have all the power on your throttle. And at that point, I can do a pull, push to the red line, shift up, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, that's basically my rev matching tutorial. It's a pretty simple process. So we're moving right now. 2nd gear. So we're in 3rd gear right now. Let's say we got a downshift. Like I said, these 3 things at the same time, like that. As you can see, the RPM shot up, and then the bike started to engine brake for me, and it felt pretty smooth too. Like you don't even notice that the bike downshifted. I mean, you can hear it in the exhaust noise as the RPMs, you know, shoot back up. You can hear like a rev sound basically. But yeah, that is how to rev match on a motorcycle. Hope you guys found this video to be helpful. I know it was a long awaited video. Everyone was requesting it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.